This is a homework monitoring system that some of the math department is using. Justin originally came up with the idea to somehow track homework for students. So not only are we tracking when they're not completing an assignment and trying to email parents when that happens, but it's just a regular way to keep track of daily practice homework. This is a spreadsheet set up in using Google Docs, and Kelly wrote the program in behind this. But for the main screen, this is what teachers would see, and this is what we would need to use. You can set up your class and what period it is. Every time you send an email, you're going to need the date and you're going to need a message. If you have more than one class, what's really nice is that you can just make a copy, and therefore you can call it, you can rename it. You can rename it to whatever class it is you have. And so once you get a copy of this, you have, just have to make a new copy every time you have a new class for every new semester. It's really easy to use. You won't need a lot of help with it. So what this is just a pretend class. These are not students at Woodfield. This is not really a working email address, but out of Markbook, you would just copy the email addresses, you export them right out of Markbook, and you just paste them into your email addresses. You can have more than one email address. They just have to have commas in between them and not semicolons like they have in Markbook. You just copy and paste the last name of all the students and copy and paste the first name. So it's really quick to set up, and that's what I did notice, is that it's a lot faster than trying to set up groups in our Outlook email program. What you'd need to do, if you were going to, let's say, just check a regular homework check, they should have done homework, it's not for marks, but you want to keep track, you will need to put in a date, and then you need to set up a message. And the message always starts with the student's name. So and so did not complete the homework today. We can also include a link to the homework if you have your homework on a website. You can list what the homework is. If you already took it up, you just can say this is just a, I'm keeping in touch with you, just letting you know that the student wasn't prepared for class today. When you go to the checklist, an entry of 4 means that they had it done. It was done, it was great. 3 would mean that they had most of it done, but you're not that worried. 2, also, they gave it a good attempt. 1, they really maybe just did one question. It was really not done. 0 is for when the student has not done any of the homework at all. You can use an A if they're absent, or an N if, let's say, they were absent last class and they're kind of excused from this because they maybe didn't get a copy of the homework or whatever happened. So for every student, you can just go down. You can do this on an iPad or an iPhone. You don't have to have the computer, the laptop in front of you. The entries can be made on an iPhone or an iPad, but the actual sending of the emails, the script only runs from a computer. So we'll do another 0 and maybe another 1 and a 2. Okay, so what will happen, this is not set up to email parents, but just as a practice, when you hit parents, an email is only sent to the parents of the students who did not complete the homework. But you might not want to get rid of this information, so you might say save data. And what happens when you do that is when you go to the records page, we were just kind of setting this up, but what would have happened is that on the 24th, it recorded everything that I just inputted. So we can have a running homework report, and it's also averaging what we have done. So the average completion level and the number of no reports. So on average, this is the score that these students have had just with this data that we entered. So it's keeping track. And as well, now that we've saved the data, if you want to, then you can clear it and it's all clear. Something else you can do is use the student success button. So what we've done is we've set up all the MSIP periods for the class, which is also pretty easy to do. When you open the student tracker, it does show what MSIP period each student has. So MSIP, 12 is actually period 1 and period 2. So again, what this does, when we put in let's say there was an assignment due. I don't think you'd email student success every single time their homework isn't done. But let's say there was an assignment that wasn't done. Okay, and so a few of these students had a 0. You don't have to put an entry in every time for every student, but I'm worried about these students because they didn't hand in their assignment today. So I would go back and I have to, if you try and send it to student success, there is a warning. You must enter a date before sending the email. So you have to remember to do that, and it'll warn you if you don't. If we put in the date, and the message doesn't start with the student's name for student success. These students have to complete their polynomials assignment. Polynomials assignment. And then you can also paste a link there to what the assignment is. That really helps student success out. So they have a copy of the assignment that's not done. As well, when this email, when I say student success, it is going to send emails, but it only sends the email to the student success teacher that teaches student success period 2. And this one goes to the period 4 teacher. How that is set up, just so you're aware of it, the script editor here is where Kelly wrote her program. And in this program, you can see the code that is behind what she's done. There's over 400 lines of code here to run this program, which is really neat. And what you're going to have to change for each teacher would be, if you want to use this, you would just have to put your email here. And then every time student success changes, you would put the email address of the period 1 student success teacher, the email address of the period 2 student success teacher. This is just a demo right now, but that's how it would look. So that is the teacher's pet, and we've been using it, and it runs really well. It's really easy to use. It's quick to set up, and I find it really useful.